Awesome. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining myself and my friend Elaine here. My name is Alexi J. McDonald from Above and Beyond Reality. I'm very grateful for you joining us right now because this is actually my first ever interview. And thank you so much to you, Elaine, for joining me here too as well. This is very exciting. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for, holding space for this wonderful creation to happen.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I'm in Perth, Western Australia. You're in Memphis, Tennessee, in Texas. So this is awesome. Thank you so much to technology for allowing us this space to be able to connect on the other side of the world. Why don't you start by just sharing a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do, and a little bit about your own story.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for inviting me. It's so neat that we have this incredible connection globally. Here I am in Memphis at, I guess, about 9 p.m. at night. You're there in Western Australia at, I guess, 9 or 10 in the morning. And we're all one. So I am Elaine Canepa. I live in Memphis, Tennessee in the south of the U.S. My company is called Your Inner Source, and I am a full-time PSYCH-K facilitator and transformational catalyst. So I work with individuals to identify and shift the limits in their lives so that they can feel more prosperity, more freedom, more fulfillment, whatever it is they seek, kind of at that core level. We look at it and we shift it. And I love it. I do this full time, and I wish I could do it more than full time.
Beautiful. I love that. And I look forward to when I get to do this full time as well. So I love hearing how people, how PSYCH-K came to people. We often, in our community, we say that it found me. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So how did PSYCH-K come to you? Because I know how it came to me was quite a profound story. I had this huge awakening vision, and then a series of synchronistic events that took place after that. Like I couldn't afford to do the course. I didn't have any money. I'd just been traveling, but everything was just provided for me. I had 111,000 frequent flyer points. It cost me 110,000 to fly to the other side of Australia to do it. So there were so many things that just played out. It was truly poetry. So I'd love for you to share with us how PSYCH-K came to you.
Well, it wasn't quite as poetic as that. I had actually come to a place in my life that things were a disaster area personally. I'd hit a wall in some very difficult relationships in my life. And I remember right before I found PSYCH-K, speaking with a friend of mine who's a body worker, and I went to her for some sessions, and I said, quite literally, everything in my life that's ever hurt me has come up so profoundly in this recent situation. I said, I feel like I am being dismantled because all of my stuff that I had worked out with energy work and therapeutic processes and retreats and this and that and the other, it all just exploded with several events in my life in a very short period of time. And I felt like all the insides were hanging out. And so I was a mess, and I wasn't eating and I wasn't sleeping, and it was really hard to work. And at the time, I think my son was 15 or 16, and I'm a single parent, so I wasn't really functioning really well. And I went to my friend for about the third or fourth body work session, and we were making some little progress, but she looked at me and she said, there's this thing I did called PSYCH-K. Like, I took a course some years ago with this woman named Robin, and I'm going to go look for my book. So she went and rumbled around in this big cupboard, and she pulled out this notebook and she dusted it off. And she said, it's been about 8 years, but let's look at this. So she opened up her notebook and she just said, oh, I don't know where to start. Let's see if we can figure this out. So she kind of did some muscle testing, and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I said, where did you learn this? I knew it's what I had to do. I knew that whoever could do this could help me. So she gave me Robin Graham's number, and she said, Robin is never in Memphis. She travels all over the world. I never know when I'm going to see her. Good luck with that. I called Robin the next day, and she happened to be in town. And so that was the beginning. And from the very first session, I felt such a profound sense of peace and hope that I knew that this was for me the road to wholeness. And that was 4 years ago, and I've never looked back. I quit my corporate job a year ago. I intended to give myself a 2-year window to quit my corporate job, but within 6 months, everything just fell into place, and I'm a full-time facilitator now. And it's been since July of 2018, and I love it.
Beautiful.
So, and here I am.
do you remember what date in July that you actually gave your job away?
Actually, that's really interesting. You said that. I repeated a course in January of 2018 with Robin. And I don't know what I balanced during that course, but when I walked out of the door on the 3rd day, I called my friend and I said, I'm going to do this full time because this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, and I'm quitting my job in 2 years. So that was January 20th of 2018. I gave my notice at my workplace on May 28th, like within 5.5 months. And I left the corporate on July 28th of 2018.
28.
And I've never looked back. It was like the leap of faith, but it was also the knowing that everything would be fine.
Mm.
And a lot of balancing with PSYCH-K helped me get there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I selfishly asked because my birthday's on July 18th, so I was trying to get in there somehow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Maybe by next July 18th, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? That would be cool.
Yeah. So we've mentioned, I talk a little bit about our PSYCH-K processes on my social media platforms, but for those who don't know, what is a balance? Can you explain a little bit about that to us? What is your interpretation of a balance?
Sure. So a balance is a process through which a person that's experiencing the balance, they come into a whole brain state. So when you come into a whole brain state, the right side of the brain and the left brain, the two hemispheres come into congruence and communication, thereby allowing for shift at the subconscious level to happen. So there's some science involved here, some brain science, and I am not a scientist by any means. But basically, when we are charged emotionally in a situation, or we are feeling uncomfortable or threatened or something like that, that's not the norm, the reptilian brain or the fight, flight, or freeze takes over. And because we have this response of fight, flight, or freeze, we're unable to move forward with clarity, okay? So when we come into a whole brain state through a balance process, we're able to have more congruence and clarity about what we see and what we experience in the world. So through a PSYCH-K balance, our perception can shift about what we're experiencing in life. Mm. And that's about as scientific as I'm able to get on the whole brain state. I think you might know a little bit more about it. I think I've heard you speak about it in some of your maybe videos or interviews.
Yeah. And that's just purely repeating what our beautiful originator, Rob Williams, and how he talks about it. I too, I'm not a scientist. I like to explore my own life, but that's about as far as my scientific background goes. But that's a beautiful explanation.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's nice. I just like to hear how other people interpret these byproducts and outcomes of doing PSYCH-K processes. So you mentioned you now do this full time, and actually, if we can take a step back, I love that you said how your insides were out and everything was just falling apart from the inside. And I think I heard Guccio say it one time. He's one of our directors at PSYCH-K, and he said when a egg is broken from the inside, when an egg is broken from the outside, life ends. And when an egg is broken from the inside, life begins. And so there's just this beautiful metaphor of
wow.
when we're broken from the inside, that it's not a breaking point. It really is that time for a rebirthing and a recreation of ourselves.
That's a beautiful metaphor. And I think I remember Dutra saying that at our workshop. And it is truly what has happened in my life. People that I haven't seen in a while, they look at me and they're like, you look different. It's not just the fact that I've aged. They're like, you look different. You glow, you shine. You are just, you're like, you look amazing. And I mean, I'll be in sweats in the like grocery store, but they're like, what is the secret? What is your secret? And I really do feel it's this total rewriting of the foundation of what my life was into this much more authentic, aligned place as I've lined up in many areas of my life with, I guess, the higher calling, if you want to call it that, or the inner truth, the heart song. So yeah, definitely breaking from the inside out is a rebirth and a new beginning.
Yeah, I love it. Finding the answers within.
Yeah.
So you said you do this professionally. So how's it helped some of your clients? Do you have any good stories that we could share of what PSYCH-K has done, or how it has allowed them to do for themselves, more importantly? Because it really is about that. It's not the power is within you. You're an amazing facilitator. I just had a session with you, and you provide some amazing space and really tune into some higher frequencies coming through. But it's not about that. It's about allowing space, isn't it? So how is it that you work professionally, and what are some of the things you've helped some of your clients do for themselves?
Well, I love the way you kind of the platform for that. And it was really what I was thinking about as you had asked the question. The thing that sets PSYCH-K apart from every other modality, I believe, and I've studied many and experienced many, PSYCH-K allows the client or the person that's receiving the work in a session to lead from their highest knowledge and from their inner wisdom. We as a facilitator have an amazing toolbox. We've studied and we've learned incredible processes and protocols, and we really try to live by a certain philosophy of PSYCH-K. But we just hold the space as facilitators. And what sets PSYCH-K apart is the client that's coming to us. It's their wisdom that's leading. And I truly believe that, and I've experienced this with many clients, I believe that many clients, it's the first time they've felt truly empowered in their own healing. The whole concept of heal thyself. They have an innate wisdom and an innate knowledge in their bodies, in their cells, in the fabric of who they are, to find those answers. And this is what sets PSYCH-K apart from so many modalities. And there are many beautiful modalities. PSYCH-K really isn't a modality. It's a set of processes. And clients feel empowered. And I believe a lot of them feel like they are given choice for the first time in their lives. We don't realize how much we don't live in choice, not just by what society and family tells us to do, but when we are being run by a subconscious program, we aren't really in choice. So with PSYCH-K, we are giving the opportunity for people to step into that choice and really find that wisdom, grow that intuition. And so I'm not really in the anecdote yet of some of the session results I've experienced with my clients, but I wanted to just say that that's just so important, that if a person has felt, I think, and it's one of the things about PSYCH-K that spoke to me, I had experienced feeling so disempowered in my life, and I had acted out of control, like not out of control, but from a need of control in so many places in my life for so long, because I felt so disempowered in so many ways. When I was given the power of choice and empowerment in those first few sessions, I think that was like the breath of life coming into my body for the first time at a really deep level, because I realized, like, I do have some innate wisdom here, and I do have the ability to bring it forth to help myself heal. So that was pretty long-winded. So do you want me to just give you some results from some of the experiences we've had in sessions?
Yeah, maybe a story, because we love relating to stories. We love story time. So
Yeah.
what's a story that you've experienced
Absolutely.
in your life and one of your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give a couple of just quick ones. I recently had a client come to me that said that she had never felt like she belonged, and that she had always felt weird and strange, and that she had done trauma therapy for several years, but it actually, for her, it made her feel worse because she kept having to relive the stories of the things. And so one of the first processes we did is basically transforming the perception of a situation. And in this particular situation, she had shared that in this feeling weird her whole life, she knew there was a specific instance that had happened as a child. And she started to retell the story. And I said, there's no need to retell the story. I want to hold space for you. And would you be willing to just sit with the story and we do a muscle test? So rather than relay the story, we went through the balance process. And when she came out of the balance, she was laughing. She had gone into the balance feeling really sad, and she just was feeling heavy around this belief that she was weird, okay, and that she didn't belong. She came out of the balance laughing, this beautiful laugh, and she said, oh my God, when I was in 6th grade, the most popular kid in school told the teacher that I was weird in front of everyone, and I didn't know I was weird until that moment. So 12, 13 years old. And she said, and from that moment, I felt separate from everything and everyone. And she said, and then in this, sitting in this whole brain posture, I realized that what I wanted to say to the guy was, heck yeah, I'm weird. And that's when I started laughing. And so she came out of this belief that she had held for like 30-something years, that she was separate and didn't belong and that she was weird, and she embraced it. And she said, hell yeah, I'm weird. I love who I am. I feel so good being me. She was saying all these things to me, and she was absolutely shining. And that's just one small example of many that I could give you, a profound shift that was so simple and powerful that it's starting to rewrite a foundational piece of this woman's life. And I can't wait to see her next week. We have another session set up to see how she has embraced her uniqueness. So that's an example it's a pretty simple example, but keeping it simple, I think, is really good.
Yeah, and super important. Yeah. I think a lot of us would resonate with that, especially through school. School can be a very traumatic experience. It's the Lord of the Flies, really. And I mean, we just went through a session together. I was working on trying to generate and open up to have a more consistent flow of clients into my business. And what comes up within the session is something that happened in school with one of he's my best friend now, but it was a situation there. So it's often, I love that we work with the cause. Looking at the symptoms in our life, but then often what comes up in session is something completely 100% related, but to the conscious mind, completely unrelated. So I think, and belonging is a big thing for all of us. We all want to belong to something. And I'm interested, how long did it take for that shift to happen for that client of yours?
She was in the balance whole brain. She was in the whole brain posture probably for about a minute and a half.
Wow.
And so basically, you know, I don't know how old my client is. I'm imagining she's somewhere between 30 and 40, but basically, the better part of her life had been shaped as a result of that moment in time when she suddenly recognized that she was separate, or she believed she was separate because of what the popular boy in school said. And so, I mean, it was the joy she felt, and the wholeness and the union. And one of the first things she had said when she came in and we started talking about her coming to PSYCH-K is she said, I know that we are all one. I know that, but why don't I feel it? And that was a perfect example of the disconnect between the subconscious and the conscious. So consciously, she knows that we are all one, and there's union, and we're connected to something greater. But the subconscious was not in agreement with that. And that is actually what had created again and again and again separation situations in her life. So, yeah, the power of the subconscious mind and those formative years, you know, when we're becoming people, like we're these very impressionable children, and these things happen, and they don't even seem like a big deal, but they can create a profound reality that we get to help our clients reframe and recreate and perceive differently, to give them, you know, freedom and new eyes.
For them to see themselves as well. I love that Rob Williams, in the workshop, we learn that it really is a process for dissolving the illusion of separation, because there is no separation. We're not separate from ourselves or separate from each other or our own divinity. We just think we are, and we create that experience. So to be able to change that and shift it in a minute and a half, it blows my mind how quick this really works. That we do hold on to these experiences and things, and create this identity around things that we hold on to for decades, literally decades, with some of the people that we work with. And to shift that in a minute, 2 minutes, even 5 minutes, if that's what it takes, it really is incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So maybe just one other question. What moving forward, what do you see happening in your life, Elaine? This is probably an impromptu question. I'm just throwing it out there, but what's the future hold for you? Where do you want to go with this, and what do you see happening?
So for me personally, or for us globally as a PSYCH-K community? Maybe both? I could answer both. Yeah. So for me personally, I want to continue to help people pierce the veil and see the beauty of who they are. So to reach as many people as possible with PSYCH-K. I mean, I work in person here in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're starting to have a beautiful community begin to grow here. Robin often teaches here, so we're starting to really have a nice PSYCH-K community. But as you and I discussed earlier, the beauty of PSYCH-K is our global reach. Our global community is so connected, and because we have these beautiful digital platforms, we can be instantly connected with one another, even halfway across the world. So I do hope to continue to grow my global reach with connecting with clients that resonate with the way I work. I have definitely set an intention is moving towards the instructor path with PSYCH-K, and I'm very open to when that unfolds. I don't know the timing, and I'm really put that kind of in the hands of the universal flow to allow me to line up with the timing, because I have learned that when I push things and force things, that just creates more resistance. So I just am very much taking it one day at a time, and allowing the flow and the timing to happen for me. And then as far as the PSYCH-K global community, I mean, the 3D and the 5D are here. You know, not the 5G, but the 5G. And we are definitely moving into a global collective consciousness that I think is incredibly expansive, and we have the ability to heal the planet if we just keep doing our personal work and touching the lives of others as much as possible, and really hold sacred the concept of holding space for our partners or our clients in PSYCH-K. So as you know, well, to share with our audience, when we work with another person, we are partnering with them. And that's such an important foundational piece of PSYCH-K. It's the collaborative nature of the work. We do this together. And there's a word in the Xhosa language of South Africa, Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is what you call the people, or the collective people, and the translation is "I am because we are." I am because we are, and I do feel that is a very core spiritual, philosophical piece of PSYCH-K that I feel every time I walk into a workshop or connect with another facilitator or connect with a client around this work we do. So I do believe we are a pivotal group of facilitators and clients that are able to create this beautiful change. And as Bruce Lipton calls, creating. There we go. We merged the two amazing folks, Rob Williams and Bruce Lipton, with that. Bruce Lipton says, creating heaven on earth, you know, bringing heaven down to earth with this beautiful, amazing gift that Rob Williams has so lovingly nurtured and given to the world. And he is an amazing, amazing person. If you ever have a chance to go to Taos when he's teaching, anyone that's listening, and Alexi J, you too, I highly encourage it because he is truly an inspirational. He's amazing. Yeah. He's amazing.
I just got an
alarm. He has a mission. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm registering for Taos next year. I was speaking to Rosie. I think she said it's already, might be fully booked already, but I'm hoping to get myself there so I can meet Rob and Bruce myself.
Yeah.
I love that Rob says that this is it's a process for global evolution and the evolution of global consciousness. And it really, that's not an exaggeration. I love that because truly, as we do our own work, as we change our own subconscious beliefs and create healing for ourselves as a result of that, because that's all we're doing really, isn't it? We're only changing subconscious beliefs. It's not a cure. We don't have any claim to creating any sort of cure or healing or anything. We're just changing the way we believe, what we believe about those situations and experiences in our life. But as we change those, then we're giving that back to the collective. We're sharing the benefits with everyone in a really big way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe it's said in some of the workshops or maybe some of the literature that every balance that each person does, every single balance that each person does has a beautiful ripple effect on the collective whole.
Yeah.
And you're right. We aren't saying PSYCH-K is the cure for everything. We are working simply, powerfully, and effectively at the subconscious level to change those beliefs, one belief at a time, which in effect creates the web of change outward, because we are also connected. We are also connected.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What a beautiful image to finish that with. Not only just the ripple, but also the web. It's I've got an amazing image in my mind right now. I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you so much for joining us, Elaine, and sharing your story. How would people, anyone who's watching, how would they find you?
You can find me at www.yourinnersource. That's one long word, yourinnersource.com. And I also have a Facebook page under Your Inner Source. And I would love to meet anyone watching that wants to learn more about PSYCH-K and have a chat, or a Skype, or an email, or a video conference with them, because sharing this work, getting people connected to it, is a tremendous passion of mine.
I share that passion with you, and that's the vision of this interview series, is just to get the message out there. You know, some people are going to resonate with you, some people will resonate with me. There is more than enough food at the table for everybody to eat, and the more people that know about this and the possibility of what they can create for themselves based on what other people have done. You know, that's when I receive most profound insight, is listening to how other facilitators, or how my instructor Rosie, how she's done things and changed things for herself. I truly see that potential within myself based on what they've done for themselves. So thank you so much for joining us in this space, Elaine. I love the work you do. I love how you facilitate, and the space you held for me. And the session we had just prior to this interview was amazing. And I'm sure you're going to help me in a big way as well. But this is beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us for the first one. And is there anything you'd like to finish with?
Well, thank you for doing this, Lexi J. It's beautiful that you have chosen to actively connect everyone through a video series, and being you, bringing what you have to offer to the table. And I love what you said, that there is so many facilitators that work in so many unique and diverse ways, that there is something for everyone. Collaboration rather than competition. We rise by lifting others. We all can go forward together and make a very powerful impact exactly where we are. So yeah, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the beauty there. I've been hearing the birds over there. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And I will go and enjoy it some more. So thank you everybody for tuning in.
All right.
Alexi J. MacDonald here from Above and Beyond Reality, signing out. And thank you so much, Elaine. I'll look forward to working more with you in the future.
Thanks. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Just stop recording.